I'm the baby in the family. Arguably the smartest. Yeah, I'm the smartest. My brother is probably more handsome. Now, I know this is shockingly difficult for you to imagine, but he's about yay-high taller and just a stitch and a half more slender. So yes, if you ascribe to traditional standards of beauty, he might have me by a half point. I got the talent. This was all right. We're about 3.5 years apart. He's older, though these days when people meet us, they'll frequently ask, who's older? Yeah, I don't like that. Although, in a way, it's sort of apropos. As kids, that 3.5 years put all this distance between us that somehow our adulthood has simply melted away. These days where everything that siblings are supposed to be, trust is implicit, love unconditional, and the closeness we share encompasses the entire family. In fact, with me and Callie, my brother and his family in Atlanta, and my folks in Las Vegas, years ago we instituted a weekly conference call just to make sure that everyone stayed connected. So the thought of anyone in my family having a secret that I didn't already know about was very hard to imagine. That is until one conference call, September 2004, when my mother proclaimed, "Your father has something to tell you." Very little good has ever come from any announcement that needs an announcement. In my experience, that's bound to be, as they say in the hood, some shit for your ass. I can't remember quite how it went, but the most unexpected revelation began to not roll, more of a wobble from my father's tongue. It went something like, years ago, before your mother and I had another relationship, and although that ended it quite badly, the relationship resulted in a child. Come again? You have a sister. Mm-hmm. Her name is Jill. She sent a letter, a video to the house, and before we respond, we thought we should let you know. There was silence for several beats. It's all we could manage. We went on to learn that while this was breaking news for us kids, my mom, my favorite aunt, and my grandmother before she passed away had all known this juicy tidbit, but for some reason kept it secret. There was mention of how times were different back then and how the mother's wishes reigned supreme. Jill's mother wanted my father to have nothing to do with the child, and so he didn't. For 18 years, he paid child support, but had virtually zero contact with the child. Now, being the involved and loving father that I've known him to be, I wondered how it was that he didn't fight for visitation. I wondered if maybe a desire to keep his burgeoning relationship with my mother unencumbered by baby mama drama made it easy for him to acquiesce to his ex's wishes, or if perhaps it was kept hidden because as an up-and-coming politician, knowledge of this out-of-wedlock birth would have made it harder for him to gain the confidence of the community in which he campaigned. But these are just my private speculations. The truth of it has yet to be clearly articulated to me. In Jill's video, she talked about going through her process at the house and assignments from her coach and steps to graduation. So from what my parents could tell, she was in some sort of a program and had some sort of a therapist who had apparently hired a private investigator to track my dad down. The program that she was referring to turned out to be more than just some personal counseling. It was a reality show. On TV! The show aired for 3 seasons between 2003 and 2006 and was called Starting Over. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this show, it's like The Real World meets, I don't know, anything on the Oprah Winfrey Network. It's about a group of women who have all hit some sort of personal rock bottom in their lives, who live in a house together, work with life coaches, and once they've hit a certain number of objectives, they graduate from the starting over house into their new lives. So I watched. There was no dead ringer family resemblance, but Jill was easily castable as my sister. She was funny, very likable. She had been a popular radio personality in Miami. Entertainment career, quite a coincidence. Jill struggled with her weight. Oh my God, I can relate to that. From what I could tell, we had a lot in common. As her story developed, we, the viewers, were privy to the raw, unbridled emotion that Jill exuded when her life coach, Jan Van Zandt, first brought up the subject of her absentee father. And it seemed that the tears didn't stop flowing the entire season. Jill had spent a lifetime convincing herself that she did not need or want a relationship with her father, and now on national TV, that facade of indifference was tumbling down. We watched as she made the "Hello, I'm your daughter" video, and we watched as her and my father's email correspondence finally culminated in a telephone conversation where both parties agreed to develop a relationship. It was a completed assignment for Jill and a very successful finale to one of the show's most popular story arcs. But that wasn't quite the end. Jill accepted our invitation to come to Las Vegas and spend Thanksgiving with the family. Now, tasked with transporting Jill from the hotel, I was the first to officially meet her. There was an undeniable degree of awkwardness during the car ride. I mean, how do you start that conversation? So, what's been going on the past 30 years? I mean, actually, that is precisely how we started the conversation. As with a lot of things, that day and in the years since meeting Jill, there was no clear-cut right or wrong of how to be or how to proceed. The situation was simply there, and we just had to deal with it as is. You know, I think that's why I've grown to love that oft-used phrase, "it is what it is." I remember, like, first hearing that phrase being like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? It is what it is. Now I'm like, so true. So true. Thanksgiving went well. So well, in fact, that the show's producers brought Jill back into the starting over house to talk about her experience. And if you didn't see this one coming, you don't know reality TV. That's right, they invited the whole family to come to the show and have a sit down with Coach Iyanla and map out a path forward. Now, none of us particularly wanted to be on reality TV, but for Jill, being on the show, working with her coach, was a life-changing experience. How could we, in one breath, say we're all in for building a relationship, and then in the next, reject an invitation to be a part of something that was so important for her? So we did the show. Now, you would think that as the actor in the family, I would have been the most at ease with this process. It was just the opposite. Because of my production savvy, I was hyper aware that every word I said and every move, frown, or scratch that I did was being recorded, and the things could be used for whatever dubious motives they desired. And I was determined not to give them any ammunition. Yes, that's right. My brief stint in reality TV had all the charm of dry toast. I was like some mute circus bear sitting on a ball under the big top with my arms folded. Like, you can make me sit here, but damn it, I'm not doing any tricks. Everyone else in the family was fine. Iyanla was great, and it was actually very helpful. We grew closer, but somewhere along the lines, the relationship plateaued. It's been 10 years since meeting my sister, and these days our interaction is mostly via Facebook. Every year I say I'm gonna really make an effort to connect, but somehow it never quite happens as I imagine it could or should. There's nothing quite like the dynamic between siblings. Me and my brother are proof positive of that. Have I found that thing with Jill? I don't know. Perhaps the fallout of some secrets is just too heavy for those entangled by them to ever really get free. I have a sister. We have something. It is what it is.